Welcome to the Comics Experiment, the show that airs live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern at our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Comicstorian. It then goes live to our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where for $2 you get early access and unedited versions of our content right over there. We then post it live on the YouTube over at Comicstorian, where you can watch it every Saturday morning. A lot of live stuff happening here. I know I use the word live way too much. You should be taking shots of water every time I say the word live. And today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, G Fuel. G Fuel is a great energy drink that we all here in the office enjoy, and it gives you the amazing energy that I'm packing today, even though I am sick and hiding under the table. You can get 30% off right now with a special code using the code COMICS. It's a special deal happening, giving you 30% off of your G Fuel. Honestly, I like the new flavor, the one by PewDiePie, the Lindenberry, I can't pronounce it, but it's the PewDiePie flavor. It is amazing. It's currently in the G Fuel, which I have right here. And with that note, we're going to have a very chill episode today because Benny's not feeling too well, and surprise, I'm really here. Hey, everyone.
Oh, I didn't see you there, man.
Oh, man.
Startled me.
Whoa, that was such a surprise.
Had no idea.
I
should become a professional actor. Honestly.
Did you guys really not know that I was down there?
I
No, I had no
I
idea.
wasn't listening anymore. I was like,
I thought you were talking
dinner.
upstairs, and I just heard you through the
I mean,
ceiling.
that's possible. I am
And
very
yeah.
even sick.
Yeah.
I'm super loud.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So welcome to the show, guys. Today is going to be a little bit of a chiller episode. Our sponsor today is actually G Fuel. They up to their usual 10% deal with us. So if you go right now and use the code COMICS, you can get 30% off. That goes until, I believe, the 29th. Anything past that will be 10% off. So if you want to support the show, please go support our sponsors. Now,
Yes, make sure you get it early so you can stay super energized for Halloween.
From under the table.
Under the table.
under the table. All right, guys. Today's going to be a little bit of a chiller episode.
Yes.
We don't have any big sponsors. We don't have any big topics. But, you know, Andy, what's happening next week that you are weirdly excited about and bought a life-size Pennywise for?
Halloween. I love Halloween. I really do.
Why do you love Halloween so much?
I don't know, honestly. You would think I wouldn't because I hate children. But
Because as kids, you didn't like any holiday.
yeah.
I never saw you liking holidays.
I loved Halloween and I love Christmas and my birthday, which should be a holiday.
And he's like, candies, gifts, and gifts.
Yeah, like I don't understand. I don't feel like we were ever actually brothers.
No, I just remember you hiding in your room with your cat.
It's because you were really loud.
I mean, I was almost like Banshee, the X-Men.
It's like now I hide at my house. I don't have a cat because I also hate pets. But no, I love Halloween. I like dressing up. I like decorating my house. I like it all.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, Dan, do you like Halloween?
I mean, it sounded like I was lying about it.
Yeah, are you sure, Andy?
Dan,
Don't
do you
lie
like
to
a
us.
long Halloween?
It's a comic book. Get it? Because we're on a comic book.
Today we're going to go through, we haven't done one of these in a while, where I pull up a list from another website and we go through and just judge if it's the scariest. Now, I want to, before we start this list, today we're going to go over the scariest ever Batman comics by what culture?
All right.
Scariest Batman.
Batman. I figured we had to make it a little more centric because if we did
Okay.
scariest comics, it's way too
Just in
open-ended.
general, I got you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay, Dan?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Dan doesn't like scary stuff.
No.
He's already scared.
Yeah.
I know, seriously.
what's on
Andy,
the list?
Yes.
what would you consider the scariest Batman story before we get into the list? I want to know what your opinion on that is.
The scariest Batman.
When he finds out he has a son.
Ooh, parenthood.
That is a terrifying story.
Yes, actually, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest. Scariest Batman story. I cannot think of the title of it, the actual name of the arc. It was from Legends of the Dark Knight.
Okay.
I want to say during the 90s. Could be wrong. I think it was written by Grant Morrison.
That would probably make it crazier than it needs to be.
And it was a simple like more of a detective story, but it had a lot to do with like an evil spirit that was haunting Gotham. And Batman ended up going to like an old church where it was supposedly haunted and things like that. I would say that was probably a pretty scary story. But other than that, I can't really think of a whole lot of horror Batman comics.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some.
Yeah.
You got anything, dude?
The only one I can think of might actually be Long Halloween. That's the one
But that
where...
wasn't really...
It wasn't horror.
I'm thinking... Well, which
no,
one
Long
am I
Halloween
thinking
wasn't.
of?
There was another one. It was almost like the Night Before Christmas. Not Nightmare. What's the one with the Ebenezer
Our Twitch
Scrooge?
chat. First off, I want to thank Donnie for your generosity right there, but they are stating something you'll enjoy, Andy. Multiple
Tom
people.
King's Run.
Yes. A lot of people are saying Tom King's Run.
Scariest, just because they know me.
There you go.
There was a Batman comic. It was also a Halloween comic. It was based around the idea of Ebenezer Scrooge and the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
But it was Halloween. It was Batman. And now I can't remember the name of it.
I'm thinking
it's
of the
Batman
one...
Noel.
No,
What?
not that one. That's a different one. That
is
similar idea. But that was actually set around Christmas. This in the comic is set at Halloween.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which is the one where he's a vampire and
See,
they have to
that's Red
escape
Rain.
across...
Red Rain, and there's three
I
of
think
those.
that's the one I'm thinking.
I don't
of.
consider that. I consider that just a gruesome comic more than anything.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause he
having
just
trouble
eviscerates
thinking
everyone
of
in front
horror
of him.
versus...
I don't know. That's a tough one.
The thing
Let's
is,
see the list.
Well, the thing is with DC Comics, they do a lot of fun horror stories. So, one of my particular favorite horror stories, and I'm going to cheat since I'm the host, and it's not a Batman-centric one.
Son of a bitch.
Bullshit. Last year, at DC's Halloween thing, they basically told the story of Brightburn before Brightburn became a thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Didn't they come out with that again this year?
The Halloween issue?
Halloween issue?
Yeah, we none of us read it yet.
Oh, okay.
But they don't really do a really good job with these horror stories.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't remember reading a Halloween one yet.
Yeah, no, it was
It's
2 years
either-
ago because last year was that nuclear apocalypse one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I was going to say, I don't remember reading a Halloween last year, but the nuclear winter.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever
Oh,
it
that might.
was.
Yeah, it might have been a weird one they put in between things. Either way, they've always done a really good job at these kinds of things. And since today's episode of our show, which I don't think I introduced what the comics experiment is for anybody who may be new listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, whatever. But this show we do come together every week and we just talk about comic book stuff, be it a theory, a discussion, or a fun list that we'd like to go through. And today is going to be looking at this. So looking at the list now to see what they are. Because I get the cheat because I'm the host. Haunted Night. It's a
With a K, you got to make sure that people are aware that it's a night and not a night. Got to clarify with your nights. Plus, I love every story with Batman. Always they try to fit night in when it should be night, but they try to use night instead of night. It's very clever.
Did you bring the grammar, Nazi?
I actually stopped listening to him. It was almost as if Ben was introing the show.
This collection of 3 Halloween-themed scary stories makes for an excellent style. It makes for excellent. What is that word, Andy? Parmenitu?
Sure.
I thought you pointed at collection, and I was like, how do you
collection? I don't know.
Style reading in the classic horror tradition. 3 years worth of one-shots from the celebrated Legends of the Dark Knight line. Each one puts Batman through the ringer in a very different manner. We have appearances by Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, and the Penguin as fiends responsible. The aptly named Fears, the best and the scariest of the 3, puts Batman against Scarecrow and his fear gas, almost dying of terror in a poisoned maze. Meanwhile, Madness sees Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara, pre-Batgirl, kidnapped by the Mad Hatter, giving one of the less-seen Batman villains his moment at the tea table. Finally, the most interesting of the stories is a fun play on the Christmas Carol, swapping out Christmas for Halloween and the spirits for Poison Ivy and the Joker.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Written by Jeff Loeb
Yes.
and illustrated by Tim Sale, these dark and creepy stories proved so popular they led the Long Halloween Batman. They led to the Long Halloween Batman's epic slasher movie.
Yes. I was going to say, because Long Halloween was Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
You know, and that actually, because we were saying I don't consider Long Halloween a horror movie, but yeah, it was a slasher.
Yeah, it was like a serial killer, and the idea, I think it was supposed to take place over a year.
Yeah,
Was
the
the
Long
idea,
Halloween was it started on Halloween and it ended in the following.
Yeah, exactly.
So, which leads us to the number 9, and we can discuss more things between these. But number 9 is the Long Halloween,
Which is a fantastic story.
It is. We've covered it on the channel before,
Yeah,
actually.
it's really-
I'm having trouble I'm usually good if I can like see a page of like the panels to kind of because usually it's actually the art that reminds me of what story it actually is, and so just seeing these covers,
It doesn't.
my
do it for
head's
you.
trying to figure out which.
Trying to
one's
remember which one it is.
Yeah.
Although not as outright scary, but thoroughly spooky, the Long Halloween seasonal setting makes it vital reading in the Sam Hain period. Inspired by the short stories.
Halloween.
Is it?
Sam Hain was a mythical pagan god.
Was he?
One of the things one of the original Halloween traditions.
You know
Explain
what
that to me, please. Seriously.
Or write a script for our other channel, Tales of Earth.
Well, you can do that, but you can also tell us.
I don't remember the full. I just know that it is one of the Halloween traditions. I could not tell you the actual basis for it off the top of my head.
Okay.
I know the name.
Fine, thanks. Anyway, inspired by the short stories of Haunted Night, this twisted, turning slasher story employs almost every person in the major rogues gallery, depicting the violent corruption of Harvey Dent. The Bat's detective skills are put to excellent use as he attempts to track down the holiday-themed serial killer, offing his victims during holiday periods throughout the year. Not only does the story put Calendar Man back on the map, marking him as no longer a goofy joke, but it also but it also sees the turning of Two-Face and has notable roles for the likes of Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Riddler, and the Joker. Once again, Tim Sale's atmospheric artwork is put to good use. A dark and foreboding Gotham City, genuinely chilling villains, and a version of Calendar Man who isn't totally ridiculous. Now that is scary.
Not that far.
So, okay, let's talk about that. Why is Calendar Man ridiculous?
you know his name, right?
His crimes are based around days of the calendar.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can tell when he's going to show up.
I will say this. This story makes him less goofy than usual. It's almost as like a Silence of the Lambs kind of thing because he is in prison and Batman goes and talks to him, kind of deal. But he's still a goofy character. Sorry,
he is. The only time I've ever thought of him as not a goofy character was when he was speeding up time and like being reborn every spring. And he kept speeding up time.
I think that's that, isn't it?
Is that this one?
I don't think so.
I think that's this one.
It might be this one.
Which story is the Calendar Man?
Because there's one where like a bunch of stuff's happening and he keeps getting very, very old. And then spring, he's reborn and he's a young
That would be more
person
terrifying.
again.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, it was very cool, actually.
I think this might have been it. He's portrayed as a Hannibal Lecter offering insight to Batman's search for Holiday, a serial killer. Dark Victory, he impersonates the monster Carmine Falcone.
Dark Victory is a different story.
Oh, no. Well, yours is a more recent one, I want to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
I
just
think it
remember
might have
Halloween,
been,
he
yeah.
plays like the Hannibal Lecter role.
In the books for DC Rebirth, his body ages and rejuvenates according to the seasons.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that would be better.
Yeah, that I thought was. I thought
Also,
that
his
was
name
a
makes
cool
more sense
part.
now.
Yeah.
It was a cool aspect to the character of like, oh, stuff happens on the calendar affects him as a person, as opposed to just it's January 15.
I will say I liked him in. I want to
Memorial Day!
I liked him in. I want to say it was either Arkham Knight or Arkham City.
City's the one where you find
you
him.
could go find him in the GCPD, and depending on the day of the year, he would say different things.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
And I forget this way to do it, but if you have your birthday in there, he'll celebrate your birthday.
Which is nice of him.
He never forgets anyone's birthday.
Okay, so here's
He's
the
actually
question.
the guy behind Facebook. It's like, hey, by the way, it's his birthday. Just so you guys know.
interesting.
So since this is more of an off-the-cuff episode,
Wait, what?
I don't even have cuffs.
that's how off-the-cuff it is.
It's pretty off the cuff.
You consider Calendar Man kind of a joke, right? Other than the rejuvenating, weird aging one.
Sure.
Who's more of a joke in the Batman's Rogue Gallery? Quilt Man? Condiment King?
Condiment King, easily. He shoots
Calendar Man.
He shoots condiments at people.
But what if they were acid condiments?
All right,
But they're not.
I'm gonna put.
That's the thing.
I've stained your suit.
Yeah, like
I'm gonna say of the three, if I put them in the most horrific sense, I would say Calendar Man is the less creepy. Quilt Man would be the most. and
because he
Condiment
sews
King would
people
be the-
together to make
Exactly.
Wait, is that what Quilt Man does?
Yes.
I've always just thought of him as the crazy quilt guy I know he's old, but I thought the latest one was like Scott Snyder used him and he's just like, I don't know
I'm
what's
pretty
going
sure
on.
he sews people together to make
What?
his
Well,
quilt.
see, that's
don't-
kind of what I was going for the darkest iteration
Yeah.
of all of them.
I don't think
Quilt Man would,
Crazy Quilt.
would sew the skin of people into his quilt.
That's
Condiment King would essentially shoot
Give you-
condiments into people until they exploded from the insides out.
as they do.
And then Calendar Man, I can't really think of anything like
Would-
super
Would
creepy.
remind you of all your friends and family's
Okay.
birthdays.
So there's 3 versions of Quilt Man.
Okay.
Okay?
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Crazy Quilt is an unnamed noted painter who leads a double life as a master criminal. He gives
As you do.
He gives the plans for his crimes to various henchmen through clues left in his paintings. His criminal empire crashes to a halt when one of his henchmen double crosses him. Blinded by a gunshot, he volunteers for an experimental procedure that restores his vision, but is unfortunately left unable to see anything but bright colors. In his second published appearance, this is combined with a special helmet that emits bright colored lights, enabling him to see under most circumstances.
What?
That
It was a lot
That's
easier to come up with
weird.
villains in like the 40s.
that was the first version.
I could make a way better quilt, man.
Right?
Paul Decker appeared.
Mine would sew together people.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
If you're a quilt
He's
man.
a fence named Paul Decker. Uses the name Crazy Quilts. But the title heroes capture him. The result of his appearance, some resources report that the original Crazy Quilts' true identity as Decker. This includes at least one comic. Kevin Smith penned the Widening Gyre. They're just okay. Post-crisis, his history remains the same. He's permanently blinded, obsessed with the young adversary. He becomes one of the few Bat villains to hate Robin more than the Mentor, because Robin made him blind. He goes to get revenge on Grayson, mistakenly taking out his aggression on Jason Todd. Poor Jason Todd.
Poor guy.
Who is a new role at the
It's all right, soon
time.
he gets
Todd
guns.
is nearly beaten to death before he's beaten to death.
Yeah, but he didn't that one time.
How many times did he get almost beaten to death before
It's
he got
happened a
beaten to
few.
death?
I'm trying to go. Okay, so in the more recent one, in the New 52, geez, all these creepy versions you guys are remembering from the New 52.
Yeah.
He's
I
a
mean,
member,
New 52 was when I started reading. So.
he's a member of the Doctors 3. I don't even remember that being a thing. But Dr. Death, Hugo Strange, and Crazy Quilt. Decker calls out claiming that... what?
It's like, we are the Doctors 3. This is Dr. Death. He's, this is Hugo Strange. Whoa, this is Crazy Quilt.
This is the one.
he's a doctor?
This is the one that I
Honorary.
remember. This is the one where he calls out claiming that the Joker has given him the opportunity to become one of the Dynesium men as well, and gleefully injects himself with a syringe despite Batman's warnings. Almost immediately, his tissue begins to decay and rot from his body, and he drops in
That's
the
pretty
window
creepy.
into the waiting crowd, infecting who tear what remains of him to pieces.
And that's where you could make a cool one where all of his skin melts off, so he has to sew everyone else's skins together to make a quilt that he wears.
And they
I
call
think
him
you're both thinking
Crazy
Silence of the Lambs again.
Quilt.
Because
I know.
isn't that what the
we're
Buffalo
turning
Bill
all
was
these-
doing?
Yeah,
Ah,
pretty
right.
much.
Wasn't a quilt. He was just making a woman body.
Like a robe
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I thought we were making all of these like a lot creepier. This is the creepy story.
Is that what we're doing today? We're just making villains creepier. Make the penguin scary.
Make the penguin
I
scary?
like Creepy
Okay.
Historian. That was good. All right, hit me.
How to make the
Creepy penguin.
Creepy
It's just a penguin covered in blood.
Is this what we're doing today? We're just
got
making
actual teeth.
making Batman's villains creepy.
No,
I was thinking actually the penguin just surgically implanted
an actual
penguin beak
Yeah,
to
sure.
his face.
Oh,
And
what does that remind me of? Weirdly enough, oh, Tusk, where they surgically turned a man into a walrus.
This is a weird episode.
that just makes
Didn't we
me
have
think
a
of
point?
South
I think
Park
we had
where-
a point.
So
when we
anyway,
started.
8
I
on
think
this
so.
list is Mask. Bruce Wayne wakes up in a hospital bed, bearded and unmasked and unwashed, trapped in the psychiatric ward of the Gotham Hospital. He learns that his Batman identity is nothing more than the delusions of a homeless alcoholic, of which the doctors have been trying to cure him for years. It's like Buffy's Normal Again, except with Batman. Literalizing the old Batman is crazy as the criminals he fights theory, Mask is one of the best short stories from the Legend of the Dark Knight line. Weaponizing his demons against him, illustrated by the unusual realism of Brian Talbot, it leaves the audience questioning whether this might all be an Elseworlds nightmare. Thankfully for the detective, it isn't the case, and Batman's apparent delusion is revealed to be but the trickery of a pair of villainous con men. Admittedly, the resolution is a disappointment, but it's all about the journey, not the destination. And in this case, the journey is Bruce Wayne falling off a building while dressed in the bat suit made of trash bags.
It's not about capturing the villains. It's about making friends along the way.
They've done that story a few times in Batman comics where it's like,
yeah.
it might be a dream.
They just did it
I was
in
going to
Dark
say,
Knight,
yeah.
Last Night on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
yeah. But they did like
literally
the
doing
animated
it.
series where he had been kidnapped by, I think it was Scarecrow. Yeah, it was.
I
No,
think
it was Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter.
I mean,
and,
they
put
literally
him in,
did it
like,
in the-
It was like a reality
Yeah, I think-
where it
yeah.
made him think that
They did
Batman
it
was
with the
separate, yeah.
Black Flower, Black Delilah. What was that? The
Black
Lotus?
Dahlia?
Dahlia.
No,
there's
that's
the
a thing. Black
alien
Lotus.
plant that you
Black
can put on your
Lotus.
chest. Black.
Oh, yeah, the black
And it gave him like the
Lotus.
perfect world.
Yeah.
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 And they also did it.
They do that story a lot though, where
They
it's just
do.
like Batman's not real.
One of my favorite stories is the one where he's not real, and Alfred's and his acting
Yes.
troupe is
Oh,
actually
yes.
all the
Yeah,
villains,
yeah.
and they're just trying to make him feel good about the loss of his family by allowing him
'Cause
to
that
be
helps.
Batman. Black Mercy was the name of the flower. that they
Okay.
used, yeah. All right.
Oh, that's right. Black Lotus is the Magic the Gathering card that's worth a lot of money.
Sure.
I had one.
I didn't.
No, I really did. Back when I collected Magic
I
cards,
know
I just
that
threw them
doesn't
away.
surprise me, and that you probably
Totally just like thrown away with all
because
my
I'm
Magic
pretty
cards
sure
when I
it's
was a
worth
kid.
like a couple thousand.
A lot more than that if you have the original.
Yeah.
So I think it's up to like 20,000. The Black Lotus card from Magic the Gathering, just like a first edition Charizard card from Pokemon, did not have that.
My sister did.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
You never played Pokemon cards, did you? Oh, we did. You and I did. It was like one of the few things we did as kids.
Threw them all away.
Half these episodes are just two going, oh yeah, we did do that when we were kids.
I mean, I don't.
We were some wild and crazy guys.
All right, number 7 on this list is The Cult. It's not often that Batman finds himself completely helpless. Sure, he's been brutalized and defeated far more often than his reputation suggests, but the true fear doesn't come easily to a man trained by ninjas who spends his nights brooding on gargoyles and fighting demented murder clowns.
You would think it would be very difficult to scare him.
Rarely has Batman been so helpless than he is at the hands of the sinister cult leader, Deacon Flackblier.
Jesus,
Are you okay?
I'm not doing so good
You
here.
want me to read?
No, this is funnier.
Okay.
Deacon Blackfire. Deacon Blackfire. And his
You
underground.
still can't say it
No, it's
right.
Blackfire.
You said Flackfire
I said that, yeah,
three times.
I know. He's got a flakjack. I'm sick. Anyway,
I'm sick of your bullshit.
kidnapped by Flackfire and brutally brainwashed. You didn't catch that one?
I'm just let you go. Just go ahead.
Kidnapped by Blackfire and brutally brainwashed to the point where he needs Robin to come and rescue him, the scars remain well after his escape. Sure, he's been captured and beaten to a pulp many times before, but we've rarely seen Batman so mentally defeated also. Of course, the Bat made a full recovery in time, but the story remains as one of the most brutal and chilling ever told.
Yeah.
I don't know that story.
Number 6 is Mad. Oh, make the Mad Hatter scary. Go, before I get into this one.
He's a deranged man who thinks everybody lives in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
He's already pretty scary.
Yeah.
What did they do recently? They used the Mad Hatter thing. Was that actually going on a Tom King's run? Where they took over Clayface with it, and then they used the Clayface
No,
to spread
that was
the
a while back.
That was White Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was genius,
Because
though.
that's
that was
how he
White Knight.
controlled everyone, was
Yep.
with a small bit of Clayface
Yep.
in all of them.
And they showed like what was left of Clayface, and it was ridiculous. Like it was just a brain or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was literally just the brain with the
Card stuck in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a great idea.
that was. So taking his cues from the Alice in Wonderland character, Tech has been a bit player for longer than most, popping up in the odd one shot or a bigger overarching story as a face to punch, see his Nightfall appearance, between set pieces. Whenever he does get his own major story, though, it's almost always the stuff of nightmares. Take The Dark Knight Mad, which reintroduces the Hatter to the New 52 in a horrifying style. Hatter is kidnapping Alice's again to create his own Wonderland, as the sad, nasty story of his life plays out in flashbacks, while some of the storytelling is a little more obvious. R.I.P. yet another love interest for Bruce. Author Greg Hurwitz recast the Mad Hatter as a wily, sinister villain who's a far cry from the comical little man in the animated series. I think I remember this one. Yeah, he was like really demented and chopping people up and stuff.
Yeah.
As you do.
Scarecrow, make him scary, Andy.
It's in his name.
Yeah.
He's not hard.
Now he's
No, I
scarier,
mean-
Crow.
Scarier Crow.
Number 5 is Prey. The usual rogues gallery is nowhere to be found in this creepy cinematic follow-up to Year One. Instead, Batman attempts to fend off the mind games of the demented psychiatrist, Dr. Hugo Strange, who is determined to unmask the vigilante and prove his own superiority. Another Tales of the Dark Knight outing, this 5-part psychological thriller puts poor Bats through the ringer once more, as Strange scrambles the detective brains and turns his allies against him and sets a samurai sword-wielding psychopath on his tail. Think the Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder, except even more purple. For the physical stuff.
Okay.
I'm glad that was clarified.
Yeah, no, thank you. I wouldn't know what to do. Prey is sweaty, lurid, frighteningly violent. Even Batman himself is depicted as a terrifying figure. Ugh, really not doing well today. Even Batman himself is
All right, I'm just
I got you, bro.
scoot a little bit away. Get
I'm
out,
feeding quick.
get out of the splash zone.
That's probably a good idea. Where were you?
G Fuel, 30% off right now. Right down here.
Yeah, nope, you're all the way over here, but close. Even the Batman himself is depicted as a terrifying figure. His methods far more brutal than readers might be accustomed to seeing, which leaves us questioning whether the villain of the piece might actually be right in this case. That's what it says. I don't know why. It literally says ...
I was waiting for a follow-up. I was waiting for the follow-up.
Well, until Hugo goes full strange, that is.
That sounds like a Dan pun.
Yeah, I don't.
That's minor
Who
better.
wrote this list?
Terror, number 4.
Number 4, Terror.
Number 4.
Who wrote this list? Anyway.
We'll find out at the end.
When it comes to scary Batman stories, that makes sense then. That's why the grammar is terrible. It's no big surprise that the Scarecrow is usually not too far away. In the
Scarier Crow.
Scarier Crow is
No,
not
it's
too
the
far
scariest
away.
crow now.
In the sequel to I'm just going to keep going. We see the fear-obsessed criminal terrorizing Gotham City, having teamed with a not quite dead Hugo Strange and a reluctant Catwoman. Why is he not quite dead? I mean, that doesn't tell us anything. As Batman tracks Crane down to his Gothic mansion, because you have to have one, the game is afoot to see who can outscare who in this battle of the night terrors. That seems like would be a great story. Scarecrow's like, I'm going to scare you. Batman's like, I'm going to scare you more. While terror is less gory and lurid than its predecessor, it remains one of the more unsettling Batman stories and a serious contender for the best Scarecrow tale ever told.
Scariest Crow.
Ooh.
Similar ground is covered in The Dark Knight, Cycle of Violence, to the extent where these tales are almost interchangeable in terms of a fear factor, but when combined with its predecessor, Prey, Terror makes for quite the chilling 1-2 punch.
I have that move in Destiny, the 1-2 punch, where you can just one-shot people with your shot. Okay.
Number 3. Faces.
Is this the one where they all took each other's faces off and swapped them out, and then
No,
one
that
person
was-
was Nicolas Cage and one person was John
That's
Travolta?
Face Off.
Okay.
It's a
close.
fantastic
Close.
John Woo movie, just so we're clear.
Face Off's amazing.
I just said it's a fantastic John
I know, I was
Woo
arguing with Dan.
movie.
I was waiting for him to dispute you.
I didn't even.
I
make
basically
that comment
jumped- I
related.
jumped ahead
for
of-
Legends of the Dark Knight and the Return of Two-Face. This is all Harvey. Whoever wrote this is not very good with the grammar. This is all Harvey Dent's story, though, written and illustrated by Matt Wagner in beautifully Gothic style. Part inspired by the classic horror film Freaks. Never seen it. Yeah. Faces sees Two-Face collecting an army of deformed super soldiers. Nice. The perpetual stick-in-the-mud Batman is once again left to stop him. What a weird thing to say about
he
Batman.
is the perpetual stick-in-the-mud.
Jesus, Two-Face just wants to collect an army of deformed super soldiers. What's the problem, Batman?
Is that like Jason Todd?
Yeah. Batman was a big deal. And the Batman's like, man, I hope the Joker beats you to death with a crowbar. Faces is a simple story told by Wagner, who illustrates the action in a fashion not dissimilar to the popular animated series, except with gore and a sympathetic fascination with its freaks. Batman is almost a bit player here, competent, but just vulnerable enough that we fear for his plight at the hands of a rarely more sinister Two-Face.
Let me try again. Ready? I'll try again. I'm going to try to pick up where I left it.
Oh, okay.
That's awkward.
Okay.
You going to try again?
The Batman and Dracula trilogy.
All right, let's just,
Number 2. I got to.
let me just take that back. Speaking spell.
We got a perpetual stick in the mud over here.
Yeah, seriously. Ooh, trying to get his deformed army. Ooh.
Okay, hold on. I got this. I got to get through 2 of them. That's it, right?
All right,
All right.
there we go.
The Elseworld story of Batman and Dracula, Red Rain. We already know this one. Red Rain fights Dracula, becomes a vampire, makes a vampire army, ends up fighting against a bunch more vampires, eventually fights a vampire Joker. Eventually
No. The sequel, Joker's trying to put together his own vampire army, although he's not a vampire.
Oh, I thought he was a vampire.
Doesn't make any sense.
For the Joker, it makes sense. Though.
Sure, but the vampires follow him. That's the part.
Well,
that
they
doesn't
look
make
at him
any
and they go,
sense.
"What? No one can be that pale without being a vampire."
Maybe that's
Must
what
be a
it
vampire.
is. Yeah.
I
This
mean,
also has Selena Kyle as a literal Catwoman.
it's kind of sexy.
God, you freak. That's the scariest part.
Benny is a furry confirmed.
That
No,
is
I'm
true.
not. Jeez, we established because I play Final Fantasy 14 and I'm a dragon girl that I'm a
He just
scaler.
loves cats.
I like cats.
So number 10.
The ultimate number 1 on here.
Oh, number 1.
Oh, this is a twisted story. This should have been our number 1, Andy.
Well, it's
it
their
is.
number 1.
Well, ours is what I'm saying.
I see.
Arkham Asylum, Serious House on Serious Earth. The ultimate and helpless Batman story is in one in which the Dark Knight is reduced to an uttering, blubbering wimp. spending most of his time crying and running away. Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum is arguably the scariest Batman story ever told. A bleak, surrealist nightmare in which Batman is depicted as little more than a regular guy, almost as helpless as the other hostages of Arkham. Admittedly, this modern classic isn't much of a Batman story. By anybody's characteristic, the Bat is almost unrecognizable. But it is an excellent horror tale and finds the Joker and his fellow madmen in fine form. Flies are munched, men impaled, a man in a wheelchair is pushed down the stairs, and there's a little girl's head lopped off in the doll's house.
Jesus.
David McKean's
dark
artwork
story.
puts a Sirius into the serious house on serious Earth, making Arkham Asylum a genuinely terrifying read. A far cry from the judo superheroics of the video games then. If you look at the art on the cover here, which anyone can Google this and find this real quick, that's the interior art.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could see that really adding some creepy vibe.
The whole thing just like creepy paintings, basically, to depict the tale.
I mean, it's Joker without a second half of his face.
You know, on a completely weird tangent, all of these...
Oh, no. He's going to start going through the ads that are popping up.
No, it's not an ad, not true ad. But I just find it funny with these clickbait titles, the ones that are like 20 perfectly timed photos that will make you look twice. And the one that they normally show there is like, what about this photo would make me look twice?
Yeah.
This one's just a girl, like, she looks like she's going to start a run, just being like, what?
See, I'll be honest. I love when those show up on Twitter now because of the Twitter account saved you a click. And people will just tag them, and then they post all the pictures without you having to actually click the link.
What I find mostly annoying about those kinds of things, sometimes the concept is like, oh, if you eat this superfood and you click it, and they'll break them up. And there's one of them, I don't know who does it, but they'll take a story, like, and it's so annoying. Because sometimes the concept's okay. They're like, this one good deed saved this one person's life. And I'm like, I'm bored. Let me see what it is. And it does, like, here's an example. Let's say Andy saved someone in a rowboat. So they'll be like,
You're welcome.
When Andy decided he was going to go out for the day, he had no idea that today was going to be a heroic day for him.
Actually,
Click.
most days are heroic days for me.
Click. Andy wakes up in the morning a lot of times thinking that he would do his normal day of getting coffee. And today
being
was super heroic for him. Click. When Andy went to get his coffee, he really thought to himself,
coffee.
I really want to save somebody's life today. Click.
For lunch, I had a hero sandwich.
Like, it rephrases the same thing 3 times to make you keep clicking through the same article.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, I hate those
always
ones.
annoying.
Yeah. So, okay, well, since we're a little early in our video today,
I'm
it's been a free.
thinking.
What do you got?
Number.
I was going to say, let's make a really, really creepy / horror story for someone that's not Batman, where it's not pretty much a normal story for them. Because let's be honest, with Batman,
Okay, so I got
a
one for
large
you.
number of them are just creepy.
The Super Sons are the only survivors in Deceased. And then John turns into a zombie because his father caused it. And he chases Damian around until he tears him apart limb from limb.
That's not a horror story.
No, but you can do it creepy.
It's a zombie
No, I would
story.
see a way to
Right.
make that even creepier would be more Lois is still alive. John gets turned. Damian's been saving someone, comes back, sees John is feasting on his mother's body, comes in, has to take out John right then and there, and he is now the last person on the planet, watched his dad get turned and shot by Alfred, watches his best friend eat his
Once
mother,
again, this isn't
and
a
now he
horror
is by
story.
himself.
It's just a horrible story.
That was a horror story.
So the horror portion of mine would be John gets turned into one of these freaky monsters. And the story is Damian trying to outrun him the whole time. Like,
So it's a page.
no, I mean...
Damian can't outrun John.
I mean,
that attitude.
the entire movie of Brightburn, no one could outrun that kid. The entire movie was a horror movie.
I could outrun.
I'm basically saying,
Brightburn.
put John in the kid from Brightburn, and then in the kid's mom who outruns him the whole movie. That's Damian. And come on, it's Damian. He'd survive for a little while,
Good thing
no,
I have
Flash-
the bat shotgun.
I mean, we saw
which is
how...
loaded with kryptonite salt.
Let's be honest, we kind of saw how short they last for Superman and Flash, so I'm not sure if Damian would last that long. Hell, Batman got taken out within a couple pages.
Yeah, Superman and
saying.
Flash did not survive very long.
No.
Superman. Oh, I mean, they survived 4 issues. It's pretty good.
Well, the
For
Flash
Tom
was
Taylor,
in a
that's
bunker.
great.
For a Tom Taylor book, that's fantastic. Most people don't get past 2.
What I was going to say is, who's your favorite villain of all time that's not a Batman rogues gallery and easily portrays himself as a scary character?
A scary villain that is
What's your
one of my
favorite villain
favorites.
that's not a Batman rogues gallery character?
And I'm not going to include Carnage because he is such a hot thing right now, but he is my favorite villain.
He's also kind of a horror
I would
character in
say
general.
He is,
time they turned. I thought.
Oh, wait,
it was,
we're turning a normal person into a
Yeah.
horror? Oh, okay. Okay.
I want to say it was Titans Lost. It was New 52. It was
That
when
was the breakup of Legion of Superheroes. Wasn't
No.
They got stuck in the current
It was
time?
the New 52. It was when the Titans started to remember each other.
Oh, God.
Oh, I know the
And
one
it
you're
was
talking about.
Music Meister, I think, was the character's name.
That was such a weird villain.
But they did it really creepily. It was almost like a Stephen King, like the kids remember from, like the grown-ups remember from when they were kids and they were
Yep.
terrorized. I thought that was actually a pretty good, like, creepy
I liked
take
that.
on that.
It's not Titan. Is it Titans Lost? I could.
It's Titan something.
It's
when they don't know each other.
Or
'cause
is it
it's
like
the New
Hunt?
52?
Titans the
Maybe
Hunt?
that's it.
Titans
and then they
Hunt.
start to realize that, wait, we knew each other?
Is that the one where if they touch each other, they get memory shocks?
sort of?
Yeah,
that's,
that was-
That's Titan Hunt.
and then they basically did that, reformed the Titans, then Rebirth hit, and they were like, let's do it again, but with Wally.
We're doing it again, but not nearly as good.
Well, you're gonna
Yeah.
do. They're all gonna still kind of know each other, but the memories are gonna be shoddy, and Wally's gonna.
Oh,
fix
wait,
it
there
all.
was a second one? I was thinking that one.
No,
I didn't
no.
realize that happened before.
There's a first time where Dick Grayson meets up with like
It is Titans Hunt, yeah.
Narc.
It is?
Narc, Donna Troy.
Donna Troy.
yeah.
Arsenal.
Wait, that wasn't one full... Oh.
No,
I thought that was one
so
entire
And then
story.
that led into when Wally actually
Well,
came
so
back.
what ended up happening was that was supposed to be the revival of the Titans, but they announced Rebirth right
That's
in the middle of
right,
it.
because Titan Hunt was they formed it, and then the Rebirth was Wally making them
Right.
remember.
So
That's
basically
right.
what they did was they used Titan Hunt to be like, oh, we all don't remember each other. And then Rebirth was announced like right in the middle of that. So they were like, just link
Right.
it into Rebirth. So they all still were missing some
But
memories, and then
that
Wally
was-
brought them back.
I thought that was a really good, like, it was horror-ish. Because to me, that was a very much like a Stephen King thing where the adults are like, oh my God, we fought this evil when we were kids and forgot.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Yeah.
Abracadabra is the one that did the Wally one.
Yes.
And that's a character that kind of took
Yes.
a twisted evil turn.
Yeah, that one,
Some
yeah.
goofy magician that went normal, and he's like, you're stuck
Right.
in time. Well, I don't know where I got this power.
I do. From the editors.
Hold on.
I would say Toyman is also can be very creepy.
Oh yeah, but they've turned him into such a
Superman.
joke now though. Like he'll
Well, I
be in like a
know.
giant Gundam, and Superman's like, "Why do you keep coming to Metropolis with this?"
And where do you keep getting giant Gundams?
What was the latest?
Nobody noticed you building
See,
these things.
they have one of him. It's in Russia though, and like every time Superman shows up, he's like, "Ha ha, son of a! Oh my God, how many are there in here?"
What do they call this guy? The nesting dog.
There was a recent one where Toyman went to a different city, and Superman happened to be coming through. I remember the issue. He's
Yes, I
like
know what
whining
you're
about it. He's like,
talking about.
"You're not supposed to be here."
Yeah. I don't know.
Was
I
it
know
Central
that
City
story.
with the Flash? Maybe.
It was something where he was like, "What the hell? You were supposed to be back there. I thought I had a chance for once."
Damn it.
I know it was a lot of times with the Flash. I love the Flash's rogues where they'll be like across the world. How are you here, Flash? Fastest man alive.
Yeah.
In the name.
Literally can run everywhere.
The moment I hear you're over here, why would I not be here?
Yeah.
Like, I was at Court of Maltese. I like to go there with the rogues. And they're always like, "What are you doing here, Flash?"
He's like, you guys come here like every other week.
Yeah.
Just
I
swing
literally
through
checked
really
3
fast.
places.
Yeah,
It takes
yeah,
me
yeah.
5 seconds, guys.
Stupid.
It's just on my
mirror
laps, you know?
master. Stupid.
I was out for my
mirror
morning
master.
jog, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What is going on over here?"
So it was in Man of Steel. Tevye would know that one. Yeah,
Of course.
He was in Coast City.
What's he doing in Coast City?
Hal Jordan's off planet doing whatever Hal Jordan's
Yeah.
doing now. I mean,
With Garand Morrison.
And Morrison.
do you know they ended that book? It got to 12 issues. It's ended. It's now a Dark Stars book. That's going to go 6 issues, and then it's Hal Jordan again.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Well, hopefully it'll get good.
Nope, same team.
Oh.
So if you didn't like it already, it's not getting any better. So
I've said like 2. You guys haven't said any.
I do.
Well,
I said abracadabra.
That's
I've
true, right,
been
I'll give
trying
it
to
to
think of some that I could turn really, really creepy, and they're getting
Sure.
pretty dark. But one of them,
I did too. I turned John evil too.
One of them was actually another Batman villain, but it was Kite Man, and he just killed people and turned them into literal kites.
What is with you guys and people killing other people and sewing them into things?
Because it's creepy, and we're coming up with creepy stuff.
True, it is pretty creepy.
I mean, you're not going to go outside and go, "Man, that guy sewed a bunch of people together." It's a Tuesday.
This quilt is so warm. What's it made out of? Funny story.
Do me a favor. Anybody who's
True
watching this on
story.
YouTube, go to the comments and is there something
Your
wrong with these
family.
two? Is there something wrong with them?
It's so creepy.
Right? Yeah.
See, I've always been good at coming up with horror and creepy stories.
Okay, turn Alfred creepy. I'll take that one from the chat.
Turn Alfred creepy without having him cut people
Alfred
up and sew people
actually-
together.
Alfred actually killed the Waynes so that he could get the fortune.
Okay.
Okay. When Bruce starts becoming Batman, he was like, "Oh, this will be easy. I'll just wait till he dies from jumping off a rooftop or something like that." And Alfred is behind all of Batman's major villains.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, that plot kind of exists, but I like your take on it, where he's
I feel like if it
make
was
Honey Badger creepy.
Like the animal?
if,
Pitch it off. That's not good. Attack you.
in my opinion, though, if Alfred was a creepy or horror-like character, he would be the kind that you would never know or would never show it in front of people.
He manipulated everything.
He would always
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the behind-the-scenes kind of like the panel of walking away with a creepy smile kind of person, and would either be like poisoning people with the tea, because he's always giving people tea, and they even
true.
show he gives Superman tea without him realizing that he even got it.
What if Alfred's the third Joker?
I was actually thinking about that, the three Jokers thing, and I was like, well, there's the movie Joker, there's the main Joker, and there's Batman Who Laughs Joker.
No,
There's your
here's
three
my
Jokers.
question. We're
lame.
winding down this episode, but someone tweeted me about this the other day.
Yeah.
Do we ever think, honest question, do we ever think we're legit going to get the three Joker storyline at this point?
I honestly don't.
I think we will, and it'll be a creepy story where they cut the Joker into three pieces, and it becomes three mini Jokers.
That would be
That would be
as hell.
scary.
Yeah.
And they're all Chucky.
Jokerlings.
I'm still waiting for Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. So
They're going to be called the Gigglers, and they're just running around.
Wow, you're really making that creepy. Mini Jokers attacking.
Imagine that, just in the middle of the city.
You want to make it
just
really
hear,
scary? You want to
and
make
you're
it
just
really
like,
scary?
Oh my God.
Harley gets them all and wants to raise them as her triplets. Parenthood.
Parenthood is terrifying.
And what does she dress them in? Quilts made of people.
Joker
Whoa.
costumes made of people.
Joker costume.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are, you went somewhere with this.
We did. We did go somewhere.
And who sponsored this episode? And I'm pretty sure they're
We're
going to
not
regret
going to
it.
say right now,
I'm pretty sure they're going to
outsider.
regret it.
but they can imply.
If you want to stop your urges of killing people and skinning them and sewing them together, G Fuel is a great way to get rid of that.
I don't know if I would.
Or a
100%
psychiatrist.
promise that. Yeah.
Or
I was gonna
therapist.
say, I don't know if I
Or
would
any
put
mental
all that on
professional.
G Fuel. They might not be cool with that.
No. G Fuel will make you not psycho. And you can use our code COMICS at checkout for 30% off right now.
And those savings are crazy. Huh?
I liked it.
Thank you.
I liked it.
I like Andy's like, I don't know if they want all that on G
I
Fuel.
don't know if I put that on G Fuel.
We may lose that sponsorship.
Yeah, they might not be cool with that.
They're like, why did you tell people we sold G Fuel boxes made out of people sewed together?
Dan, what is Soylent Green?
It's people. It's half the population we couldn't feed. But
Okay,
and we
good.
turned into feed.
As we're closing this episode,
Genius.
has anyone, there is an actual food product called Soylent.
Yes.
Why would they name it that after the Soylent Green?
Oh, I don't know, but my favorite line from Futurama with the Soylent Green is they're like, here, have some Soylent soda. How does it taste? Oh, it varies from person to person.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I don't know why they named it, but there's an actual food product called Soylent. I'm like, why would you name it that? I don't care if it has soy in it. And
I bet it's people that are going, I wonder if it's people.
I wonder if it's
Do you
people.
want to try people? I'll try people if you try people.
Oh,
Will
you know what
try
that makes me think of? I
Will
was
you
watching-
share a person?
I was
If I
watching-
get one for the table, will you share it with me?
I was playing Destiny the other day, and I was watching an episode of Crazy Obsessions, and there's this person who's obsessed with trying to get body modification to make themselves look like an elf. And the episode took a weird turn when he said he's trying to get 2 ribs removed so that he can look taller and lankier like an elf, but then he wants to eat them to see how he tastes.
That's pretty weird.
And on that note, this has been Comics Experiment. I'm not even joking. I'm watching this thing and I'm like, why? And he's laughing. He's like, I think I taste good and I want to find out. And I'm like,
I mean, if I was given the option, maybe. But I'm just
I could
kidding.
eat my own foot.
I mean, it's not cannibalism if it's yourself.
yeah, is it Andy?
Yes.
On that note, this is
Andrew.
Comics Experiment.
No.
Let us know in the comments down below if that would be considered cannibalism. We've officially weirded out Gary.
This
Gary's
is
like,
a
"I'm leaving."
weird episode.
I hope you guys
I
enjoyed
love
this
that,
episode. This is a little more off the cuff, a little more weirder. This kind of happens when we're feeling a little under the weather. But thank you for everyone listening to this on Spotify, on iTunes. Give us some great reviews if you did enjoy this episode. If you want more off the cuff episodes, let us know in the comments down below. If you're like, hey, if you're not feeling well, don't do that. Also, let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget, you can get 30% off your G Fuel if you go to the checkout and type in the code COMICS right now. You can get that. The sale's going on. And if you happen to see this episode after that sale, it's still 10% off on the regular. Get yourself some G Fuel. We do drink it in the office quite a bit. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time right here at...
Comicstorian.
No, what's the name of the show, Andy?
Comics Experiment.
Yeah.
Well, you would have said
Andy,
at the.
You get the bonus. See you guys next time.
If it was Comics Experiment, you'd go at the Comics Experiment, not at Comics Experiment. That sounds weird.